Welcome to the Enterprise Case Study session. Each of our guests will tell their stories, and we'll take a few minutes after each presentation for questions. And just know that it's my job to keep us on time, and you know that I will. I'd like to introduce the panel formally to you, and then they'll just take off and start. And as I mentioned, they'll have about 15 minutes for their presentation, and we'll take questions after each presentation, so be ready for that. Our first guest is Dr. Mary Gallagher. She's Vice President of Administrative Services for Los Angeles Trade Technical College. Dr. Gallagher has 28 years of experience in post-secondary education. The past 10 years has been with California Community Colleges in the capacity of administrator and adjunct faculty. Mary currently serves as the Vice President for Administrative Services for Los Angeles Trade Technical College. Next is Steve L. Griffiths. He's the Manager of Broadcast Services for Global Communications Technology at General Motors. His team manages delivery of video formats for global GM staffs and external partners, provides broadcast video production support for TV and networks, webcasts for employees, dealers, and external partners, on-demand desktop delivery of video for Socrates, and supports distance learning for GM dealer training. And Scott Lawson is Director of IT Architecture from QAD Incorporated, a leading provider of enterprise resource management and supply chain software. Scott has spent the last 9 years working with business users to define and design information systems. He helps align IT and business users to promote the success of those systems. Scott has also worked as a certified project management training. Scott has also worked as a certified project management trainer, website designer, online training developer, and technical writer. So let's learn more. Dr. Gallagher?
Good afternoon. I wanted to tell you a little bit about LA Trade Tech College. We're a community college located just south of downtown LA. We're the oldest community college in the LA Community College District. When I arrived at Trade Tech about 3 years ago, what I found as soon as I arrived was that the technology there was absolutely obsolete. The system on campus and throughout the campus was unreliable, and we had very, very little wireless or other types of really good technology for the students to use. So we undertook a very aggressive and comprehensive upgrade of our system to support new applications that we wanted to employ to improve the student learning outcomes for the students and to help the faculty to deliver instruction in a very different style to the students. So what we did was we upgraded every switch in every closet on every floor in every building. And our backbone was 10 gig switches so that we could support video. So we knew we wanted to get very deep into video, so we made sure that we put the infrastructure in that would support that. An additional benefit that we derived from this upgrade was that we were able to improve safety and communication. We're a campus that is only on 26 acres, but we have some of the largest assignable square footage of our district. What we do is we build up. And we had a big problem whenever there was a need for communication from building to building or throughout the campus. We had very unreliable communication. So one of the great benefits is that we now have communication in all of our classrooms and offices throughout the campus. The vision that we had going into this project was that we wanted our students to be able to access everything that they needed anywhere they were. So we had to make sure that we could accomplish this through multiple methods of the students being able to access information, from different types of devices they would use, to the different types of video formats, and to the different types of deployment methods. We also wanted to make sure that we kept the idea of having a user-centered solution. We actually incorporated user-generated content, which is very unusual at an educational institution, especially I think at community college, because there's a lot of concern about what will the students post. So we actually did include some software when we first opened our social networking to the students, and it's working out quite well. We do have a group of student workers who help to take a look at any content that goes up that we want to preview before it goes up. We've also been able to add additional services for the students by being able to connect questions that the students have with offices that they need to go to directly so that it doesn't get bogged or jammed in any one place. So it seems to be working quite well for us. I wanted to show you a little bit now about what we've been able to do with video. This video is real time in the classroom, and this is a very recent thing for us to do. So this video is going to show, oops, let me put you down here and get full screen here. This class rebuilt this engine, and they were just getting it started. And the reason that they put it on video is because not the entire class could see it. So the engine was being started at the front of the classroom, but all of the students in the classroom couldn't see it. So they could view this on video. So this is one of the applications that we've started to use. And you see the faculty are struggling a bit, the faculty and the students, with starting this, but this is something that all of the students can easily observe now that we're doing it in real-time video for them. And they're very excited because they were able to do it. So in addition, another application I wanted to share with you on that happened in our welding program. This was the first program that we used actually flip cameras to have the students film their welds, and then they would compare it. The instructor would put up the proper weld, and they would compare their own welds and critique their welds, and it was just a phenomenal experience. So it's really done a lot to help the learning environment for the students. So what we believe about video is that it will really create these collaborative workspaces, including the virtual space for students. And the other thing that we've seen is that it really does help to accommodate a variety of learning styles. One of the most incredible things that we think that we've done with these videos is to create what are called reusable learning objects. Reusable learning objects are the presentation of the lecture in different components broken down, so that if a student has difficulty with one concept, they can go to a website, pull down that part of the lecture, and play it as many times as they need in order to get the material. So if you can remember back when you were in college, I mean, it was a long time ago for me, maybe not so much for the rest of you, but sometimes a concept would be right there for you, and other times you struggled a little bit with you. But if you had a chance to play that as many times as you need to really cement it, that could make a significant difference, and this is what we've seen. One of the things about a reusable learning object is it's done with the instructor actually creating the lessons, and then the lessons are what we call teched. So they're scripted and storyboarded, so this is professionally done. They're scripted and storyboarded, filmed and edited, transcribed and captioned, and then they're formatted for streaming. So we distribute that to the students, and right now we are doing the distribution through the traditional media of DVD and streaming online through their class Moodle website. We are in the process right now of setting them up on master iTunes that can sync with the iPod and hopefully other devices. So I just want to show you, a reusable learning object. I won't show you the whole thing, but because it's 5 minutes, I just want to show you a couple of different aspects of it. So this is in our electrical construction program, and this is a video on how to properly bend conduit. I know that's very exciting. I shouldn't do this at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but.
It's really bad if you don't do
Now
it.
we're going to this is one of the most common bends you're going to make.
So this is one of our instructors,
really
Dave
need to know
Robinson.
how
So
to do
he's
this
giving an
one first.
explanation of bending conduit. And
Next
he
bend
teaches
that
brand new
comes off of
students.
this works perfectly.
Now I'm
with
going
this.
to fast forward through this, but I just want you to kind of get an idea. So he's exactly showing and describing how you bend this conduit. He even will go
I'm
so
gonna take
far
that
as to
bend
show if there's a problem with the bend,
And I'm gonna
how to fix it.
Line it up,
And then at the
with
end of
my
this
star,
video, he's going
and
to
you can see I'm
show
lining it up.
the little
with the
secrets of making sure that you bend it properly.
And
So
I
he's
have,
bent it, and he's going to
a
put it on the
back.
floor, and he's going to show you that it's not
look
even.
at it.
And he shows you
I'll
how
lay it
to
on the
fix it.
ground.
Okay, so he's going to
I
show
can
you how to
see
fix
that.
that. And then he's going to show you how to prevent that from happening in the first place. So this is a 5-minute video
using
that a student who had this demonstrated in class,
seam of
but
the
is having
conduit.
difficulty with it, can go back
So if you
and
look at
just
the
go over it
conduit,
as many times as they need to get it
every
right.
piece of pipe is gonna have
So-
a nice seam on it. So,
they've been working quite well for us with the students. So this is really a paradigm shift for us to use video. And we're very aggressively trying to incorporate this in, because we believe that this will really help the students to remember what it is that they're seeing. Also, we have found that the students who are doing more with video work seem to be having better memory with the concepts that they're learning. And it's because the brain is more active with video. You're using multiple senses with video. So we believe that that is really helpful to students. We are also beginning to, as I showed you the demonstration of streaming the video live in classes, we're also doing that with guest lectures. So the students who miss a guest lecture, for example, our evening students often are not able to attend a guest lecture, they can see that as well. The challenges that we have are maintaining compliance with ADA. Also, copyright protection. The architecture of the system has been a bit of a challenge for us. We've been able to address it, but it does create some challenges, which is making everything work for everybody and all of the different types of devices. Also, the changing technology is really something that's a challenge for us. We want to stay on top of it and be up with it. And we have to also make sure that we're ready for it. We're not sure what we're going to do with 3D, but we're starting to talk about it now. We've got to figure out what's appropriate to put up there. The other thing that we have to decide is what are the technologies that may be fleeting. We also need to make sure that as we go along, we continue to work on getting buy-in. We really want all of our faculty to incorporate technology into their classrooms. And another thing that's been a challenge, but we are addressing it, are the costs. These were all done through grant-funded initiatives, a special federal grant we got, but we've got to be able to institutionalize those, and we have already started to build the budgets to do that, because within a couple of years, we will have to be able to maintain this. The difference for the faculty has been that it saves them instruction time so that they can work on advanced concepts. It also, what we found in the last 2 years, since our classes have become so crowded with shortages of classes due to budget cuts, is that these now reusable learning objects are coming important for students who are in these large classes to be able to go back and go over this. The faculty feel, many of them feel that they just can't teach without this technology anymore, and we were happy to hear that. Unilaterally, it's accessible to everyone. And the interactivity with video, you can chat and tag and send a question. We can do assessments as instructors. And we really have the ability to determine the more difficult concepts that the students will need to cover and make sure that we've got that out to them. The difference for the students are that they feel a lot more confident about what they're learning. They feel very empowered to increase their knowledge with these opportunities. They have a lot more interactivity. There's a lot more peer-to-peer interaction now, because in a classroom sometimes you don't have as much participation from students, but when you're online, you have a lot more activity with each other. That's another thing we've noticed over the last year. We can have students post in either synchronous or asynchronous discussions. Students also at our college all do an e-portfolio, so they have the opportunity to film their skill sets either for a class that they're getting graded or for a prospective employer. Students with disabilities, this has made a significant difference for. It's really helped them to be able to progress. Students really develop a lot of pride in what they do. They really, really love this stuff. And it really, at the end of the day for us, it develops a desire for lifelong learning.
Awesome, great. Dr. Gallagher, I've been doing this a really long time, and it is colossal to me that now the instructors feel like they can't teach without the technology. What a sea change that is. I mean, man, that's
So if I can give you an example of that, I just got chills actually, because we had a nursing program that had was approaching just barely a 50% pass rate on the state licensing exam, and we had to do something. And the very first thing we did was we really forced the faculty to start to infuse technology. They are the faculty that will tell you now they cannot teach their nursing program. And in the last 2 tests, we've had a 100% pass rate. It is just, it's so significant, it's amazing.
Is that incredible? Sharon's got a microphone here. Do you, questions for Dr. Gallagher?
So my question is, you're saying that ADA compliance is an issue? And
Well-
what specifically is an issue about that?
It's not that it's an issue, it's just that every time we do something with technology, we have to make sure that we're addressing any ADA issues so that we make sure that we maintain compliance. So when I say that that's been a challenge for us, it's just another step that we have to really take a close look at before we post a video, that we make sure that we're compliant with ADA.
Is it something you could just build into the workflow?
We actually, yes, and we actually have done that now, but it took us about easily a year to just figure out exactly how we would do that.
The question was building ADA compliance into the workflow. Other questions for Dr. Gallagher? While you're thinking about them, I will remind you that these presentations will be available online on the page where our video will appear for the on-demand session. The presentations will be there for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gallagher. Steve.
Hello, Steve Griffiths, General Motors. Thank you. I got to figure this out here. So I'm going to talk about employee engagement and the use cases. We've had video in various forms of GM since the 90s, and I'll talk to the desktop to however we delivered things, either through broadcast or whatever. So what we did is we kind of reinvented ourselves on the IPO day, and I want to show you a video here if I can pull this up right. You came in on the morning of,
No.
This was played at your desktop when you turned it on in the morning of the IPO. We use Kentucky to deliver this around the world. Every employee, 120,000 employees, that bought it that morning. Once it got past the boot screen, it's all this video. It was mainly aimed at making sure you know what's going on. This is the actual edited one. This was with the stock exchange in Toronto, and then we later on had one with doing it with New York here, ringing the bell. And we did quite a bit around this one, so let me close this one. This player's different than that, so let's do that. My presentation. So the other thing we did is we did employee journalists. And employee journalists, what we did is we set flip cameras around the world, and we asked them to tell the story that day of what's going on at their location. So we gave them a series of 5 questions, 1 page of instructions. Number 1, how to use a flip camera. Remember, I had to do it in 12 languages. We had to show them what we expected, and then we wanted them to send us back stories of what was going on that day. We got 31 videos contributed by various employee journalists from around the world. We got from the shaky cam of a flip camera of just trying to do something to professionally produce pieces from around the world. It was a big success. The employees talked about how one of the best things about that day was seeing their other people in other locations doing this. What we did is through Kentucky we used their video center, and they took any format, be it MOV, be it WMV, be it EIEIO, and we uploaded up, the transcoding happened, and then we proctored it. What I mean by proctoring, we got some videos that weren't very appropriate that day, I'll tell you that. So we made sure that they were reviewed, and those didn't get to be seen by those people. That video I showed there at the front, it's got over 10,600 views in its first hour. The next thing is employee video contest. After we did that, employees said, I want to see videos more and more about what we do at work. So we've ran them from May the Best Car Win, you might remember ad campaign. This one here is about the employee Fireball Run employee team contest, where we actually supported in the Georgia area was about missing children. We limit them to North America right now. We've ran one in Mexico, also now in Canada. We had 32-minute videos employed and submitted, and 25 were approved. Again, proctoring we have found is very important about what's submitted by employees. You will be amazed what they submit. And what we do is, while we're doing this, I want to make sure I don't go too far. We have a rating system, just like you see on YouTube, and it's stars. And employees go in and they star it to say, this is my favorite employee or video. And it's a 1 to 5 rating, and we take whatever's the highest rated program, and that's the one that wins. And you can there was 32 or 25 videos, you only got to vote once. So if you change your vote and watch another one later and whatever, we kept track of that within the system. So the example of that one is, this just ran recently. We did Chevy Turns 100 this month, and we asked everybody to send us their favorite commercial booths. This was produced by an employee at home. We gave them the assets. We were very worried about copyright. We were very worried about things. You had to use our music. You had to make sure you use certain parameters. We gave them logos. We gave them other things to use. But most of this was them working with their local plant to find things that did this. This is that asset was given by us there. They did this at home. This employee won this. What they won for getting this, they got to ride in Detroit. We have the Dream Cruise every year. It's where the old cars are king. And they got to drive one of the original Corvettes down Woodward for the day. So that was pretty cool. But I think this is 2 minutes long, and there you see the tagline here at the end. Waiting for it. The bow tie that never escapes. And they helped us design. If I go back just a little bit here. Oh boy. Not seeing it. They helped us design the logo for Chevy 100. So now I'm going to find my presentation again. I'm terrible at this. So Socrates. Socrates is our intranet. We've had a version of intranet since probably '89. Where employees, when you log in, we have everything. We've been running it on various platforms. We just transferred it to SharePoint. With that came, everybody wants to use the video. Everybody wants to put a video in. Everybody wants to do this. We stand this up 131 times in different countries around the world. So when you come in the morning, your home page is for your country or region. You come in, we have global pages, we have regional pages, and you have country pages. And you're allowed to select which is your home page. What we gave them is we have publishers. The rules for publishing we found was very important. You would submit a video as an employee, but the idea being here is you would submit it to your publisher for your country, and then they would have, through the Contiki tool, we gave them the ability through a gadget or a widget, I think I said that right, that allowed us to upload video into the story. So if you follow this through, this is our chairman, Dan Ackerson. This was, I think, on the global. We call our internal video GM Intertube, play on words. It's nothing that great. We do it for the retirees, but let me go to that video. Let me make sure there's not one more thing here to show you. Yeah, let's go back to the videos. And what that is, this is a story that we ran.
It's exciting to be here. I mean, we have AJ Foyt driving the pace car for the 100th anniversary of Chevrolet with our 69 pace car replica here, which it was a beautiful car.
This was ran during the 500 weekend when we announced we were back in the racing.
Very exciting, but this year is the preempt.
We've learned very quickly. So your stories, especially that global, you got to put your rock stars in. When you buy your rock stars, your CEO, your CFO, they've got to be in there every once in a while. People won't watch these videos unless they have relevance to them. The employee videos they think are fun or are funny get the least viewing. Remember, humor is subjective. There is the viral videos that go the other way. But this was shot by an employee with a home camera at Indianapolis. So getting the engagement there. The other one we do is GME Newsline. I just showed this one here. And we do a daily newsletter comes to you, and it shows the videos here. Now, one of the unique things here, forward. The Video Upload Center, again, allows them to put that in there in the widget. I talked about that. And the play button. What you do as the experience is, I'll go back one here. What happens in this right here is when you see this little icon there, it shows up right in our e-news. If you click on it, it authenticates back, and it allows the employee either to be on our VPN, on our internet, or from home. And it authenticates it back through the system. It's pretty slick. I will give you that. And then my last video I want to show you, then I'll come back to the future where we're going. This is, we ran this. We, on a regular basis, take engineers, we said, you've got to get out of your cube. And so we now make them go out into the field and hold drive-in rides with prospective employees and or customers They go to a city, they're assigned a group of people that are used to doing it. We have employees sign up for it, they go and support them. This is all shot, again, through a home camera. This one, I believe, was in Massachusetts. Oh, no, it's not Mountains, I don't know where this one was. But again, these are all employees. It brings them back. Video, very quickly, if you don't keep it interesting, if you don't keep it short, if you don't make sure you understand, they're going to do something else during the day. We learned if you deliver more than 3 videos in a day, they won't watch it. If they're more than 3 to 5 minutes long, they won't watch it. They'll come to town halls, only 20% will watch it live, 80% will do it on demand. You know, so remember when you spend all the money in the live show, most of your viewership will be after the event, not during the event. So, some of the things that we're challenged with recently, and some of you have heard me talk about a few of these over and over, YouTube for the enterprise. And I'm going to use the brand YouTube. If it doesn't work like YouTube, you get endless emails on how your system doesn't work. So if you don't lay it out the same way, you don't make it operate the same way, or be able to search the same way, you got to remember your employees are going to hold you to a standard of what they have at home. So when you're laying out a portal or laying out for them a channel, you have to think through about what do they have at home. They're going to come back to you and say, you're not doing this right. Search engine integration with SharePoint, we've demonstrated it, but the ability to tag and be able to do SEO, search engine optimization, so the employee can find your video, is probably more important than your video itself. I can't stress this enough. If you have the best in video, if nobody can find it, sorry, nobody's going to watch it. You know, and we're allowing self-tagging now, which is we didn't think we were going to do, but employees can tag it. We allow them to misspell. We allow all those things to go now, and it's actually made our searches and our uses much higher. We're just now deploying globally what I showed you with the e-news around the world. We're publishers. Again, we had to wait to get the pages into the proper languages. When you support 12 languages, it takes a while to get your video center to be in the proper language as they publish. I don't want the phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning from Korea saying it didn't support me this last night. And the last one is SAML, or single sign-on. I've done this. We've dropped LDAP. It's a must. As you go to mobile, this becomes so important to your environment. When you sign in once in the morning, it carries your authentication with you through all your systems. SAML, as a large enterprise, is the only way to go. I can't stress that enough to you. It's painful for your first couple people through it, I'm not going to lie. But it does make a difference because the mobile user, especially iPads, Droids, others, they don't want to sign in every time they come to a new website. So we've had a great success with it. We're moving forward. I see a lot of new things coming in with our distance learning and other places. I'm very interested in what I just saw from the community college, but that's my presentation.
Thank you, Steve. Awesome, good. Here comes Sharon with the microphone with questions. You see how I've beat them up to stay on time all by themselves and give them a one-time cue. They're just so terrified of me. It's great.
Steve?
Yes.
So when the employees were shooting the videos at home, is there a labor issue there for you guys? Did they have to sign any kind
That's a
of
good question.
contract to do that?
Well, no. With the ones we had problems were when we had Insight and the labor, actually the UAW got very involved with us saying you can't use my likeness. So we kind of encouraged them to do it outside of work, and then that goes away. So we let them do it all on their own, edit it all on their own, and put all the assets. And when you do it at work, we get into big issues with the union. I'm just going to be very honest. But they want pay for their likeness is the issue. And I don't understand that one, but you just walk away.
Other questions for Steve?
For getting the data to try and search for videos, the state of like tools and software, it's really early days on that stuff. But have you tried any of that?
We're playing with it. We use Google Analytics and we use Google appliances every place. We're laying that through our whole system right now. It's been very good for us. We're moving more and more to that model. So what we have found, I didn't bring the data with me. The minute we started engaging employees so they could tag, that's when it took off and people started looking for other videos or like videos. But we learned the lesson again about being like YouTube. Now when we play in our channel, you see the video, but all of a sudden it'll tell you the 3 that are like it, and we do that through the tagging system. So it's more about that same experience you have to develop for them. Now, so the tools to support that, They're limited, they're rough. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's easy, but it's fun.
You
How's
said
it?
you're using Google appliances for that
Correct.
tagging. Okay,
Correct.
thanks.
Yes.
Other questions?
Hey, you mentioned how important it was from the authentication side of things for the mobile user. Have you had any other challenges in distributing video to multiple platforms, mobile and others?
Every day. I'll list them. I have Contiki, I have Adobe, I have Kit Digital, I have Bright Cove, I have all these various vendors and others. I can keep listing them and how I deliver various systems around the world. Integration of those has to happen at some point. They each do something very well. Also, I want them to be able to syndicate to each other, and that's something that we're dealing with right now. But the mobile delivery is the one that is here and now. About 2 months, less than a month ago, it was announced to us that we just delivered over 2,000 iPads to our tablets, to our field. And I do everything in Flash up to this point. And so now they're all complaining to me that they can't watch the videos. So now I'm behind the 8 ball again of how I've got to go change that to H.264 and have it available to them in an iOS platform. So that'll be done by January, maybe. But so I don't think it's going to go away. I think there's going to be another Droid. There's going to be another iOS. HTML5 is a promise. I don't know what's going to be there. So before I go to editorial stuff and say, hopefully I answered your question. Okay.
Any more questions for Steve? Great, Scott, you're up next.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Thank you. My name is Scott Lawson. I work for a smaller company, and probably these two of my colleagues here, called QAD. I want to tell you a little bit about QAD, just so you can get our story and our picture, because the main theme that I want you to take away is that you don't need tons of money. You don't need tons of people. In fact, we don't have any people. We don't got people, as I always say, to produce videos, to film them, or whatever. And I was very encouraged in hearing your story, Steve, about taking it out to the people, because at QAD, we have a site, which we'll talk about, called QTube. We name everything with a Q, and it's our YouTube, so same kind of a concept. QAD is a global software company. We make software for manufacturers exclusively. We've been in the business for 32 years, and there's some stats there. We're all over the place. Our headquarters are in Santa Barbara, but 60% of our business and really our people are not in the United States. So we have people everywhere. We have tons of what I call an information plaque everywhere, and people need to know about our software and know how to configure it and how to work with it and what it is. And so we really want to put education into the hands of every employee, and not just a top-down. We want the employees to teach each other. So that was one of our main drivers for putting in multimedia. These are our main goals, is to really make posting video, whatever that means, and I would call it multimedia, because there's a lot of things that go around video, like some of folks talked about the slideware that comes in and things like that, as easy as posting an email. I want to have everybody be able to just create a video, upload it have value, have it tagged, have it be able to found, and so forth. But we also want to provide management for that content and have a single source. Like I said, we're a small company. We can't have millions of different servers all over the place. We wanted to start out and try to say, this is our solution, and we're going to expand into that solution. Keep it a single source and enable search for that video in context with other content. So for the employee, I mean, it's a video, it's a multimedia, it's a document. We don't care, it's slides. It's a training guide. It's all the same to them. Video shouldn't be anything special. It just sort of moves around, unlike maybe text does. And we also wanted to keep the format of videos or multimedia short and consistent. So we use similar templates. We try to make all of our presentations, which we call qubits. I told you we name everything with a Q. So we have QTube and qubits. And we want to make them 15 minutes for most things or less, and no longer than 60 minutes for a class. A lot of people want to record some event or a class or something, and we allow them to do that as well. So in the beginning, we started, you can see the date there, in 01. doing multimedia presentations. Now, this guy wasn't a video, he was a little picture that changed every once in a while. And then his voice was there, and he had his slides. But the amazing thing is, the guy was in Australia, and he wanted to broadcast, essentially, information to his global support organization all around the world, bunches of them in Amsterdam and Barcelona and New Jersey. So this was the first qubit, and we went from there, only 6 presentations, all had to be hand-built, to about 100 a few years later. It didn't really catch on very fast. But then we bought a product from Sonic Foundry called MediaSite, and this thing it's very much like a Cordon or other kind of tools now that are common today, but it was amazing to us at the time. It did what we did by hand automatically. And so we were able to produce more and more presentations. And today we have 28% of our workers posting videos online. Almost a third of the people have posted something on our QTube. We also have QTube Live, which is a live stream broadcast every single Monday at 8:15 Pacific time. You can tune in, and you'll have anywhere from 1 to 4 business leaders or people around the company talking to you about the company. And it's live and it's interactive. You can ask questions, and there are people in the office and also online. We have about 141,000 all-time views, and in 1 month last year, when we had a major product rollout, we had 8,000 people watching our videos. Now remember, we only have 1,350 total employees. So this is a lot of views, I think. And people are very ubiquitous. And I think what you said, and you said about your instructors, no video? What are you talking about? We have to have video. I can't educate you without some sort of movement. But it gets better. In this year, 2011, we implemented a server called Camtasia Relay. And Relay is basically a screencasting tool. So maybe not video, but to me it's a video of the screen. You know, you're watching your screen as a video goes. And the reason why we did this is because video was always like you had to go somewhere, or you had to connect to the video conferencing unit, which was connected to the recorder, which then recorded your video, okay? And nobody, not very many people can do that. We have people everywhere, like, very, very small towns in Chicago, or whatever. So Relay is like a desktop screen recording tool. And so you can see the numbers there. We pretty much tripled our numbers in this short space of time, ingesting what we call user-generated content. Just anything, what do you want to show somebody today? I need to show somebody how this piece of software works. 2 or 3 minutes, you just do the screencast, you click, in one button it goes up to the server, sends you back a URL, you can email out that URL, it's secured, it's internal only, and so forth. Another use case is one of our sales or one of our services people go out to a customer, they're implementing our software, they can take Relay on a USB drive, plug it into a foreign computer, record stuff for the customer, 1 click, it gets uploaded to our servers, and we can then distribute that to the customer. We also wrapped Google Search Appliance around our videos and all of our other content. And this is just a real quick screenshot that shows you I'm searching for a term called warehousing, and I can search across 7 different things, product information and updates, which are patches and learning and stuff, and videos. So this finds video, it shows you who the presenter is, gives you a little snippet. It'll show you a text version, just like Google does. If you click that, it'll show you a whole transcript of what that deal is. But it shows you in context with knowledge-based items or documentation or whatever. Because again, people don't care. They don't want to search for videos. At least at QAD they don't. They want to search for information, and it just happens to be delivered via a moving platform. However, video also for QAD includes what I call informal collaboration. We have a tool that's like WebEx or GoToMeeting. It's called AT&T Connect. We have tons and tons of people recording their meetings, recording how to do this, that, or the other thing, or whatever. Now, is it a real video? Sort of, I guess. You can go on the site and you can see this moving multimedia, people talking, people showing you screens, getting knowledge together. And we can take those recordings and ingest them, again, into MediaSite so that they're under one platform. Not a lot of people do that because it's more informal. And then I talked a little bit about the screencasts as well for one-on-one help. In fact, this has become quite popular. Who has heard of screencast.com? You ever use that? Okay, so what do? You do a little screencast, you click it, it goes up the web, you send a link to somebody. You can do that as an employee, 5 minutes, just, geez, how do you do that? Well, let me not come over to your desk. Let's just make a little screencast, and then we can repurpose it if we want. We have some various tools, again, and I've kind of referred to them on the desktop. So each employee, then this is the best practice, gets a video camera, a headset, and access to Relay. And it's one of your tools. You give them a pencil, you give them a mouse, and you give them some paper, and you give them a headset and a camera. And of course, the cameras come built into computers nowadays, so that's pretty simple. In fact, we do have tools that work on the iPads, because we too provision some iPads, and you can do a video from your iPad up to our secure server. We also have 5 media site servers around in the larger offices, so you can walk into a big conference room like this one, plug in your laptop, press a button on a Creston control, the thing lights up, and then you can make a qubit. You can make a video, and it'll publish for you. And then, of course, we have some more less chaotic kind of ways where people do a PowerPoint and it's controlled, and somebody goes into some video software and actually produces a professional video. And so in order to roll this out to people, we've rolled out not only the tools, but the best practices. And this goes across whatever you're recording as an employee. Because if you think about the common employee, they don't do videos all the time. They might do one every once in a while. And maybe 20 years ago, common employees didn't do email all the time. Only the privileged few got email. The rest had to write it down on a piece of, I don't know what they did. Well, we won't ask the old guy. How do you do the best practices, right? When you learn how to write a memo, somebody said, well, put memorandum at the top and a date or whatever. And so we do something similar. Clean up your screen, plug in, try not to be on wireless, try to put the dog away or whatever, plan your script a little bit, put a name and a description, and this is very important about tagging and information for searching. People just like to do things and they think videos are magically indexed or something, but they're not. And with this particular tool, or any tool, this is just what we use, you can trim the front and the back, and wait for the link, and then you can send that video out. So it's very easy. We tried to lower the barrier of creating a video just like YouTube. Now, we're not so sophisticated with our display of the videos. We have the search tool, and we have a couple of catalogs that you can search through, and we categorize them by our various categories of product categories and so forth. But I think the best practice here is that we want to think of video as ubiquitous. It's not something special, because again, we don't have a mixing room. We don't have any boards. We don't have any of this equipment you all have in here. All we have are basically a few kind of fancy cameras. Actually, we got the ones, and we screwed them to the wall in those big rooms, and some Creston controls, and you basically have to focus, and you do it yourself. But it works, and it's a very popular way of publishing information. So, anyway, with that, questions?
This is great. Here comes Sharon with the microphone.
Me again. I'm curious, especially for dealing with UGC. Give anyone tools and they can make stuff. Whether or not it's effective is another question. So how are you measuring? Luckily storage and servers are getting cheaper, but how are you measuring the effectiveness of what's being made? Whether or not it's actually being watched is one thing hits, but whether or not it's actually useful.
Sure. I'd like to turn that around and say, well, how do you measure the usefulness of email that people send? How do you measure the usefulness of chats that people make? See, we don't feel like making a video is a production. We feel that it's just a new way of communicating information. So we don't measure the effectiveness other than, hey, it's watched. This one's really popular. Something went right here. Let's take a look at that. But basically, people can make short things or long things. And if 3 people watch it or they send it to their friend and it's really just a communication between those people, it's okay. We want to foster knowledge capture, because for us, our people are our factory. At 5 o'clock or whatever time, they all go, they all file out, and our entire inventory and our entire knowledge base walks out the door. And if they never come back, we have to hire new ones and train new ones and get new ones schooled up. So what we want to do is encourage them to put down their knowledge and be able to categorize it easily so that we have captured that. And, you know, if there's some junk there, like I'm sure there's 20 emails I sent today that's probably should be deleted, right? But there are some other little gems. I don't know if that answered your question. The answer was no. We don't measure anything.
I wanted to go back to some of your numbers just to make sure I got as far as like the number of videos produced by each employee in a month. Do you have something that's sort of in the slide? There's sort of like an implicit number there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, let me go back to that slide and see what it says. Yeah, I didn't put this on here. So we had in 2010 on this slide. We had 700 videos produced. Okay, and it's significantly more today. Like if you see this little chart shows the orange line is the number of presentations that have been produced. So if we look at this jump from say 731 to 1031, this is somewhere between let's see, 1,500 and 2,200 or whatever. So what is that? That's a jump of 700. To divide that by 3 months, that's 230 or whatever, 230 videos per month created. Now I don't know how many individuals that split up. MediaSite is very good at reporting. I can get all kinds of detailed reporting, but we only have 15 minutes. So if you want more detailed information, I'm sure happy to share it with you or anybody else. But to me, the significant number is this one, is 28% of the people actually feel comfortable enough to make content in a multimedia format today. Yes?
Just a quick follow-up question on that. So it seems like you introduced an easier tool and that led to an increase in content production. But otherwise, was it all organic growth, or did you really put a program in place, promotion, or did you have a strategy to try and grow content production?
It was all organic. We basically announced we announced the tools just like we announce anything else. Hey, this is available. You can try it out, and here's some help on it. We have some help wikis to help you out, and then myself and 2 or 3 other people were available to call you up if it's broken or whatever. That was about it. So we don't reward anybody for doing a video, or have a big hoopla about it, or have a contest or anything like that.
Cool.
Question in the back.
Yeah, what software are you using to put up that site?
The question was
Exactly.
what software?
Is it self-made? Is it
Well, what we have for our software is we've purchased Sonic Foundry MediaSite. So we have 5 MediaSite recorders and a MediaSite server, and the server does all the content management. To me, it was very important, this point of a single source and content management. We're a very small people. We don't got people, so we need a thing to keep it in, right? So you had to keep it all in your basket. And they have really good, I'm not trying to sound like an ad, but they have just, I think, really good tools for this kind of content that work for QAD. The other software that we added to that was called Camtasia Relay Server, and that is a combination of a server which basically, rasterizes or generates content in a particular format. And the cool thing about that is, of course, Relay can output it, and MediaSite can ingest it all automagically, with nobody paying attention. Yes?
Yep, I got his question.
I just answered your question.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how you integrated all the screencast and MediaSite and.
Yeah, it's basically kind of the way the tools work. Basically, is output the end file, whatever format you want, into an FTP server, and then MediaSite looks at, pulls that FTP server and sucks it in. And both these tools have profiles and other kind of devices on either end to match them up. So if you publish to the employee screencast profile, it goes into a particular folder and secured a certain way. if you publish a audio-only profile, it goes into the audio section, and you know, it turns it into a podcast, or what, you know, there's 10 of them we have, or something like that.
Question about the UGC. Steve mentioned that they do some proctoring with the videos. Do you guys do anything of that, like in that nature? And then the second thing is, for both you and Steve, with your legal departments, was there any other pushback there or apprehension from your departments when you started doing more of this UGC?
For us, no, because we feel that UGC is user-generated content. So is an email, so is a document. Nobody proctors your email, right? You can send whatever you want. And I, in the IT department, I can log onto your email, and I can look at what you're, you know, seeing or whatever. I can see what websites you're browsing. However, you signed an agreement that said I won't go look at nasty websites or whatever, and if we see that you are, we can then fire you. So we would just fire you or whatever. Or, you know, not that harsh. We would talk to your manager and blah, 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 and, you know, help you, you know, correct your course or whatever. I don't know about you.
I have a lot of discussion with our legal department. That's why we ran into the problem about not doing it at work. So the answer is yes. I assure a couple things. Number one, it could not be exported to the outside. Could it be used against us by a marketing firm or by a safety factor? So that's a big thing with us for our proctoring. And also, we have a star button or a button within the system that says if another user thinks it's inappropriate, it stars it and it comes to the top of the list immediately. So that is, if a user thinks it's inappropriate, that one goes to a lawyer first, and then I get the email saying, you gotta go talk to this employee. So the answer is yes.
Well, and I think that's important, though. We're different businesses, right? And our content's a little different. Much of the content at QAD is information on the screen. There's a lot of focus on the slides and the software-ish. There's less focus, although we capture the video of the people, we don't have cool cars, right? And snazzy music, you know, GE does.
Yeah.
Dr. Gallagher, do you have any concerns in that area or anything that you?
Well, we haven't yet.
Copyright.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't had concerns with our user-generated content yet. We haven't had any problems with it. It's relatively new for us, but we are keeping an eye on it.
Can I add one
Yeah,
more?
sure.
Copyright's very big to us, because as a global company, if I use a likeness of somebody, let's say somebody, I know this happened, put Spock in one of their videos, and we told them they couldn't win, because well, you don't have the rights to use that. So as a company who's for profit, I have a very big difference than an educational foundation where you can use that limited copyright use. So that's a big concern. You gotta be very concerned about music, and likenesses is the #1 issue they beat me up on a lot, so.
Any other questions? Help me thank our panel.